into the content that we have prepared for you today, we wanted to start with what we call the data story and how the path to successful compliance and successful governance really begins with the way that the data in your organization is organized, how it's stored, and really how it's treated. So when we talk about our data first methodology, what we want to do in this phase is to really help, first of all, discover the benefits and the challenges through what are the business impacts of taking on a data first mindset. For us, it is all about how can we empower the consumers of that data, right? Not just thinking in terms of how do we get the data from a technology standpoint into a good place, but how do we do that also successfully in a way that the business users of that data can be empowered, that data can be democratized, and it can be put into the hands of the people that need it most. So as we think through that, the next step for us is around strategy and putting together that strategy to align with the business goals so that we can drive change within the organization that is going to be data driven, right? Based on the data that you've collected, whether that be internal data that's in your CRM or data that's coming from third party data sources like data packs and things of that nature. But how do we put a strategy together that's going to align to the business goals that your organization has for that data? From there, we want to talk about what platform to use. And for us as a Microsoft partner, we gravitate towards the Microsoft platforms, whether that's Microsoft Fabric or the Azure platform, but whatever platform your organization is working with or is looking to select, it needs to be scalable and it needs to be unified. If we're going to have strong compliance and governance, it's very difficult to do that when data is distributed across all different systems and is siloed in various places and things of that nature. So that's our point of view when it comes to selecting a platform. But then we get into what we want to talk about primarily today, and that's around data security. And when we're talking about that, we want to ensure that your data is protected, that your data is compliant with all regulations, and then we want to reduce any risk that's out there when it comes to kicking off any kind of project that's going to be consuming that data and distributing it back to the business users. So Mike, I'm going to just take a minute and pause there and just let you share your perspective on how we need to go about ensuring data protection in order to kick off any kind of a project.
Certainly. That's really one of many advantages to the Microsoft Power Platform. When it comes to compliance and securing your data, it's using the existing tools that your organization is already using, right? It's using Entra, it's using Azure, it's using your secure policies and your data access policies. So these are some things that your organization is already set up and using. And the approach that we take with data first and AI flows right naturally into those authentication and authorization mechanisms. So really to hone in on keeping your data safe and making sure that only people who should access that data accesses it.
Once we've established that baseline of security and compliance around the data, we put proper guardrails, whether that's an identity-based methodology or whatever the right is in your case, then we're empowered to move into the positive outcomes that we're really looking to drive, whether those are reporting-based outcomes to allow for better decision-making, to be able to empower your wholesalers when it comes to next best actions and things of that nature, and getting into some of those AI and generative AI use cases that are really all the rage in today's world, but also are sometimes inaccessible because the data has not been secured and well governed prior to turning those use cases on. Tom, I don't know if you have anything you want to add there before we jump in and talk about the costs of not securing your data.
Data is gold, right? And those of us in the marketplace are aware of the price of gold has doubled in recent years since 2024, but all levity aside of it, and speaking about commodities, data is probably your most important commodity as an asset management firm. And so you need to secure your most important commodity, and you need to make sure that you can leverage it most appropriately. So absolutely.